Good evening. My name is Rhys Bridges, and I am the Vice President here at the Institute of Financial Wellness. Our mission at the IFW is to provide financial education, resources, and services that help people live their best life. Tonight's webinar will introduce you to IFW's Retirement Roadmap Experience. This experience is centered around IFW's Retirement Roadmap, which focuses on 3 goals essential for a truly successful retirement. First, lower or possibly eliminate taxes in retirement. Second, mitigate the effects of market volatility on your portfolio. Third, and perhaps most importantly, help ensure you never run out of money in retirement. During the webinar, we will share critical facts to consider about retirement today and take you through an actual retirement roadmap experience. And every member of our audience will have the opportunity to sign up for a free custom IFW retirement roadmap experience, guided by one of IFW's certified financial professionals. The IFW is an SEC registered fiduciary required to always act in your best interests. That's why every IFW retirement roadmap experience is always unique to you, your concerns, goals, and unique situation. The IFW is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, top rated on Trustpilot, and regularly covered in the national media. Additionally, the IFW Thought Leaders and Financial Professional Network hold over 35 of the most trusted, prestigious, and valued certifications and accreditations in the financial services industry. Now I'd like to introduce you to our host today, the IFW's founder and CEO, Eric Sussman. Eric is a certified financial planner, a chartered financial consultant, and a chartered life underwriter. He has been a leader in the financial services industry for over 25 years and has mentored hundreds of financial professionals that have helped thousands of people like you achieve a better retirement. We're just about ready to get started. So without further ado, Eric, it's over to you.
I put the All right, just waiting for the video. Here it comes. All right, great to see everybody this Wednesday evening. Let's get right into the agenda, and we're going to talk today, as you heard from our media moderator Rhys. We're going to talk about this IFW retirement roadmap experience. But before we do that, the first thing we're going to touch on is a little bit of a promise that we want to make to you. Then we'll get into the specifics about the roadmap. And the whole thing about the roadmap is, with the guidance of an IFW financial professional and the retirement roadmap technology, we can really, really help you lower or even eliminate taxes in retirement, mitigate the effects of market volatility on your portfolio, especially for those of you nearing retirement and in retirement. And then lastly, strategies to make sure that you never, ever run out of money in retirement. At the end, we'll give every one of you the opportunity to get their own custom retirement roadmap. And that'll be a fantastic experience. And then we'll go into the best part, which is your questions and answers, and find out what's on your mind. So let's first talk about this IFW promise. Now, the first thing about the IFW that we want you to understand is our mission. And the mission of the company is to provide financial education, resources, and services that help people like you live their very best life. And we have a philosophy. It's a very important philosophy that when it comes to financial decisions that we all have to make, we never say never. We never say always. It depends. And what do I mean by that? Just to digress for a minute, you hear a lot of people that say things like, you should never buy XYZ product, or you should always buy XYZ product. And the reality is there's nothing farther from the truth. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is unique. And there's so many products and services that are out there, and it's about matching up the right product and service with your goals and objectives. That's what it's all about. And then what I want to share with you about the promise of the Institute of Financial Wellness is, as Reese mentioned before, we are an SEC registered investment advisor and fiduciary. So not only do we want to do what's great for all of you and what's right for all of you and have our financial professionals represent you so well, we don't just want to do it. We legally are obligated, ethically and legally, to act in your best interest. It's literally the law when you become an SEC registered investment advisor. So really take that to heart. As you hear the information from the IFW, it's not just, us wanting to sell videos and things like that. There's a lot of media personalities that can get away with saying some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but the beauty of what we are all about is that we're a fiduciary. So let's talk for a minute about the retirement roadmap experience. Now, every single person on this webinar this evening is going to be eligible for a complimentary, customized retirement roadmap experience guided by an IFW certified financial professional. Now, what exactly is this whole retirement roadmap experience? Well, if you choose to sign up, which I think you'll want to, you're going to go through an experience where we gather some specific information about your situation. Don't worry, no credit card numbers, no account numbers, no social security numbers, no delicate information. We'll gather the information about your income, your expenses, your assets, your liabilities, your goals and objectives, and we'll put that all together. And just like you can see here, you see, it's a little hard to see, but you see current and future. In the current plan, it shows that once we gather this individual's information, and we plugged it into our algorithm, which we invested significant dollars and time in developing. And there's a 64% chance that this person is going to be financially successful. So what does that mean? This is what it means. Let's say this person said, you know what, I want $150,000 a year in retirement. Here, IFW, these are all the things that I have to help me achieve that. Our algorithm, our software, our roadmap experience, our financial professional are going to plug in that information, and it's going to spit out, in this example, 64%. And what that exactly means is that we run thousands of simulations, and it says that out of 1,000 scenarios, there'll be 640 times when you are going to achieve financial success, which means achieve your goals and not run out of money. 360 times, you'll actually be unsuccessful. So I always joke with people and I say, if you were to get on an airplane and at the beginning of your takeoff, they said, well, good news today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 64% chance of reaching our destination successfully. I mean, most people would just get right off that plane, but a lot of people are headed into retirement unknown, having a 64% chance or even less in a lot of cases, successful chance. Now, what you're going to learn, what we're going to educate you on today are a lot of techniques that your financial professional and we teach. And when you make these adjustments, you see the future plan. And in this example, which is a real life example, we took somebody from a 64% chance of success to a 100% chance of success. And obviously that's a much better position to be in. They actually ended up with a significant increase in the amount of money they had and just a much better situation. They paid less taxes and the whole 9 yards. So at the end, everyone's going to be entitled to that. But now let's have some fun and let's get into the educational part of our program. And the first part of the education that we're going to talk about is this whole idea of lowering or eliminating taxes in retirement. Before we get into that, I do want to back up for a second and give you all a little history and give you a state of the union of where our tax rates are right now as a country. So as you can see on the left-hand side there, it shows an income tax chart. And as you can see, it's going downwards to the right. And what that means is that we are in the lowest tax environment than we've ever been in the history of our country. We used to have, you can see there in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, 70, 80, 90% tax rates. Unbelievable. As a matter of fact, that's why Ronald Reagan was so passionate about lowering taxes when he got into office, because he was tired of giving 90% of his movie income away. And that's what really ignited him to be passionate about lowering taxes. Now, the good news is, as you can see sloping to the right there, we're in a lower tax environment than we've ever been in since, the 50s and so forth. The challenge is to the right. While we've lowered taxes, we haven't lowered our expenses. As a matter of fact, we've really increased our expenses, and we haven't been able to balance our budget. And we have a $30+ trillion of debt in our country. And that's just not a stable situation. Imagine your credit cards were maxed out at 30 trillion. You wouldn't be in a situation where you'd be thought of as financially responsible and have strength. So we've got to change that. And what most financial experts believe is that tax rates have to go up. And you're seeing it already a little bit with tax rates creeping up. But the only way to get our financial house in order as a country is really to raise the taxes. So I want you to take that into consideration as we discuss some of these concepts. And the first concept that we're going to talk about is called a Roth conversion. Now, a Roth IRA conversion is nothing more. We have a pool of money, a traditional IRA, that's never been taxed money. And all we're doing when we convert to a Roth is we're saying, let's pay the tax now instead of keep pushing it to pay it later. Now, as I showed you in that chart, a lot of people believe that this is a good idea because if tax rates go up, why would I pay taxes later at a higher rate when I can pay taxes now at a lower rate? And I'm a numbers guy. I always like to share some numbers. So I'm going to show you mathematically if tax rates went up, what that would look like. So imagine we had a $100,000 traditional IRA and we paid the tax now when we were in a 15% tax bracket. We'd have $85,000 left. If that $85,000 grew for 15 more years at 7.5%, we would end up with $250,000, a little bit more, $251,000, and all that money would be available completely tax-free. Now, what if we don't convert it? So, we're 55 years old and we say, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it now. Maybe tax rates will go up, maybe they won't. But let's imagine that tax rates do. Let's hypothesize that tax rates go up to 30% for this same person. Well, that 100,000 would grow for 15 years at 7.5%, apples to apples, and now would be 296,000. But then we would pay tax later at this higher rate. We'd pay $88,000 in tax and be left with 207,000. Now, 251 versus 207, will it change your life? Maybe, maybe not, but that's a 20% more money in your pocket doing the conversion. But as I show you now, there's a bigger reason why that Roth conversion might make more sense. So not only, again, just to back up for a second, not only do we save, some money in taxes, especially if tax rates go up. If tax rates stay the same, it would be apples to apples. It would be the same thing. But this is what I'm showing you now, in my opinion, is the real reason why a Roth conversion makes so much sense. And it's something called provisional income. Now, provisional income is a fancy way of saying what income counts to determine whether or not my Social Security will be taxed. Many of you out there are going to get $30,000, $40,000 in Social Security. Well, would you rather have that money taxed or tax-free? Well, let me show you how we can get it to be tax-free. If you're a married couple and you make more than $32,000 of provisional income, not income, provisional income, you make more than $32,000 of provisional income, less than 44, 50% of your Social Security will be taxed. If you, as a married couple, make $44,000 or more, again, provisional income, not income, 85% of your Social Security will be taxed. On the right-hand side, you can see 25 to 34,000, same concept. If you make between 25 and 34, 50% of your Social Security will be taxed. If you make more than 34, 85 in terms of provisional income. Now, here's the magic question. Everyone's wondering, what counts for provisional income? And what I would rather tell you is what doesn't count, because there's a lot of things that count for provisional income, but I'm going to share with you 3 or 4 things that don't count, and you bet, you guessed it right, the Roth IRA income. You could be 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 coming in from a Roth, 0 provisional income, completely tax-free, okay, and provisional income tax-free, okay? So that means if all of our money is coming from Roth IRAs, we're going to be less than $32,000 of provisional income, and therefore our Social Security will be tax-free. What could that mean to you? Well, if you see there, I show potential tax savings, $36,000 of Social Security. Over 30 years, you can save $180,000, maybe even $360,000 of tax, depending on what tax bracket you're in. If you're in a 20% tax bracket, $180,000 of tax savings. If you're in 40% tax bracket, $360,000 of taxes on your Social Security. So I would say to you, what would you rather have? A tax-free Social Security or a taxable Social Security? So I mentioned Roth IRAs, tax-free and provisional income-free. Life insurance. If you take a loan out from your life insurance policy and you get income and you bleed income from your life insurance policy, completely tax-free. If you take a loan, maybe a home equity or a reverse mortgage loan, that income completely tax-free. Okay. HSA income, health savings account income, completely tax-free and provisional income free. And I think, believe it or not, that's it. So those are the things that you want to, go under the radar with so that you can get your Social Security to be tax-free. Some of you are going to ask, is rental income tax-free from provisional income standpoint? It is not. Is pension? No, it is not. So if you have a pension that's more than $44,000, or if you have rental income that's more than $44,000, you're not going to be able to get tax-free Social Security. And we want you to get tax-free Social Security and save, a few $100,000 throughout your lifetime. So now here's the fun thing. We built this technology, as I mentioned. It took us 18 months, a significant financial investment, a significant time investment, and we wanted to be able to illustrate to our consumers, to our audience members, what does that mean? So let's take this person here, Diana, and this is a real life situation. She had a $2 million in her 401k. We applied the Roth conversion strategy, okay, and for $500,000 a year for 4 years from her 401k to her Roth. Her goal was $7,500 a month of income. And the result is that we saved her over $1.1 million in tax. And by the way, this isn't even showing an increase in tax rates. So we didn't make that assumption. This is if tax rates were flat. So the other thing that happened is she had a 90% chance of success. She had a good financial situation, but we brought her up to 99% chance. So a much better chance of success, more money, $1.3 million more, that's the green. And the best thing, the blue thing circled, $1.1 million of tax savings. So just by doing that conversion, that one technique, that one strategy, okay, we were able to save that person significant money. So that's a great idea for tax savings. So now the next concept that we promised you that we were going to teach you about is mitigating market volatility. And before we do that, I'm going to play a clip from our Dr. Jason Heller. He is a PhD in retirement planning and finance. He's a friend of mine, and he's part of our thought leadership team. You can see all the designations that he has. And he's going to talk to you about why it's so important to mitigate market volatility and address this issue. So go ahead and roll it. Of sequence of return risk, which is a risk that most people never even think about. It never crosses their mind.
So again, if I just put a lump sum in, it doesn't matter when the returns come. I can jumble them all up and make them different. As long as they're all the same in every example, I'll end with the same dollar amount. You are now taking out 2, 3, 4% of your portfolio to spend. You're falling victim to what we call sequence of return risk. If you do not set yourself up to potentially avoid sequence of return risk, then you are completely at the mercy of chance. A pool of money that is not related to the market, doesn't go up or down with the market, you can avoid sequence of return risk. A non-market correlated bucket. This is that pre-retiree when we talk about setting up distribution plans, not just waiting until the day you have your retirement party, you pack up your box at the office, you get your gold watch and you walk out. You need to start setting this stuff up 5, 10, 15 years away from that date so that when you get to that date, it's already done, it's ready to roll on autopilot, as opposed to taking the chance that you're not in the middle of '08 when that day happens, and now you have to rearrange a lot of chairs on the Titanic.
Yeah. So that's the concept of sequence of returns risk. And this is a risk in retirement that the Institute of Financial Wellness doesn't want you to be exposed to. So I'm going to educate you a little bit on this concept right now. And it's a concept that, but before we educate you on the solution, which is called the volatility buffer, that's what Jason was talking about with rearranging things and being prepared when you get into retirement. I want to give you some education right now on the accumulation phase of life. So all of you, over the years have been in the accumulation phase. You're just saving money. It's going up and down in the market, and you're hoping for a 10% or so return, right? So let's illustrate that. On the left-hand side, you see scenario A. And the whole idea of this is that when you're in the accumulation phase, which all of you have been in for many, many years, the sequence or the order of your returns doesn't matter. So to illustrate that with numbers, let's say we had $2 million in year one. As you can see, in the first couple of years, we had negative returns, but then positive returns later on, and we averaged 11.31%. Our 2 million grows to 8.1 million and change. That's scenario A. Now, scenario B, we flipped the order of returns. And now $2 million still goes right to the same exact amount, 8.1, even though the order of the returns is the complete opposite. So we in the scenario B, we started out doing really well, but then we did poorly at the end. So the whole take-home message of this is that when you're in that strategy or that time frame of your life where you have time on your side, it doesn't matter what order your returns are in. However, we're going to show you the second chart, which isn't working. Reese, can you flip that for me? Okay, I don't know why it didn't work, but sometimes it does that. So now the situation changed. When you are distributing money, and so many of you on this webinar, I know this, are nearing retirement. You're entering the phase of your life where you're going to start using your money. And you have to have a plan because as you can see on the left-hand side, if you are invested in the market and your money goes down those first couple of years and you're withdrawing in those first years, you can see that this person ran out of money in the 12th year. So imagine you're 65, you retire, and you're out of money at 77. We don't want that to happen. Why did it happen? Because your portfolio went down and you pulled out money early on and your portfolio never had time to recuperate, okay? So that's the scenario. And we can't necessarily control that. If we're in mutual fund investments and stock investments and we're not in things that have an alternative asset class, as I'm going to show you in a second, we're at the mercy of the markets going down. And if we need our money, that happens. Now, I always give this story. I have a very good friend of mine, and his parents retired in 2007. Everybody knows what happened in 2008. 2008 was like scenario A. It went down 40% in 1 year, and they were forced to use their 401k and IRA money that was down a lot. Well, needless to say, now they're out of money. They're living on Social Security alone because they ran out of money because their portfolio took a hit and then they had to withdraw while it was taking a hit and it never recuperated. On the right-hand side, this is going to blow you away. The same person, same average return of 11.31%, same distributions of 200,000, but a different order. They did really well in the beginning. Their 2 million is still worth 2.5 million. Okay? So we want everybody to obviously be in the right-hand side, but we can't predict what the markets are going to do. And in order to solve that problem, we created something called a volatility buffer. Now, the Institute of Financial Wellness is educating you on this, but I have to say we can't take credit for it. This is a concept that's out there in finance, and it's like a bucket approach. What it comes down to is if you're in distribution times of your life, you don't withdraw money during market down years. So if the market's down, you take money from someplace else. Okay, that's the strategy, and it is simple. But look at the results. Remember from the previous slide, we showed you that if you started taking money out and the market was down early on, you'd run out of money in the 12th year. Well, in this example, look what happened. We didn't run out of money. We still had $2.1 million because those 4 years when the market was down, we didn't withdraw from the account that was down. We took it from another account called a volatility buffer or a safe bucket, and we let it recoup. Now, those of you that are good at math are probably saying, yeah, but that's $800,000 less than I withdrew from the portfolio. I'll give you that. 2.1 minus 800 is still 1.3. So in this example, we would have 1.3 apples to apples versus running out of money in the 12th year. Okay. So our goal at the Institute of Financial Wellness is for every one of you, every person that's nearing retirement, that's in the distribution phase of life in retirement, to have a volatility buffer in place so you can significantly reduce the chances that you'll run out of money. So let's look at another example of this retirement roadmap, right? We had somebody, their scenario was they had $1.7 million in a non-qualified account. That's just an after-tax account. We applied the strategy with $950,000 into a volatility buffer using a fixed indexed annuity as the volatility buffer. That fixed indexed annuity is an account that can't go down, okay? Even if the market's down, the fixed indexed annuity can't go down. The results, their probability of success went from 88 to 99%. But better than that, they now have a cushion, extra money difference of $4.3 million. So just by making that transfer into the fixed index annuity with some of their portfolio, look at the results. Okay, so these are isolated changes, and what I'm going to share with you in a second is a change that if we really incorporate all the strategies. Now we're going to talk about never running out of money. And this is probably one of the biggest concerns of so many of you that it's out there. Now, why is it so critical and what's really changed in the world? So let's first talk about some of the things that have changed of why this has become such a hot topic. So first of all, pension plans in the 1980s, those are the types of plans where you worked for a company for a long time. They promise you 70 or 80% of your salary for the rest of your life after you retire. Okay, that's what that is. In the 1980s, 60% of U.S. companies had these types of pension plans. In 2020s, it's 4%. Why? Why did that change? Those are such good plans for employees. But the reason that it's changed is because people are living longer and they're not affordable anymore. That's the reason. Bottom line, it's too expensive for corporations, and they're literally have everyone shifting to 401k plans. So now most companies offer 401ks, as you all know about. Second thing, in 1980, there was 20 people paying in Social Security taxes for every one person collecting Social Security. Now it's 3 to 1. So many people are living longer. That's why Social Security is having all these challenges. And Scott will share with you later that by 2035, the Social Security system's out of money unless they make a change. So a married couple that's age 65, if you're both alive, if you're married and you're both alive right now, do you know that you have a 50% chance that one of you will be around 30 years from now? That's 30 years in retirement, and you've got to plan for it. And never running out of money is a really important component of that. What I'll do now is I want to share a video from Tom Hegno, which is one of our very, very exciting and exuberant thought leaders. He's going to talk to you about something called the lifetime income annuity and why it's so important. And by the way, I'm talking a little bit about product here and product there. I want to emphasize something. The Institute of Financial Wellness doesn't sell products, okay? We are completely independent fiduciary company that does financial education, and we're not here to sell any products or services. So anything you hear from us is based on facts, not opinions, okay? So anyway, let's roll and let's listen to Tom.
An annuity is the only product in the world that you can buy that will guarantee you will never run out of income. As long as you're breathing, those checks are coming. People live what I call a just-in-case retirement, and they don't touch their money, they don't touch their money, they don't touch their money. And I say, wait a minute, you told me when you're retired you're going to join the country club, you're going to buy new boats, you're going to go see the world. Have you done that? They say, no, interest rates are too low, the market's too volatile, Bitcoin crashed. So they live this just-in-case retirement, then they die. What happens to money? Goes to kids. What do the kids do with it? They join the country club. They buy a new boat. They go see the world. And what I'm trying to tell people is I want you to join the country club. I want you to see the world. I do not want you to live a just-in-case retirement. And if you don't put an annuity in your portfolio, I don't know how you're ever going to do it. Study after study after study show people with pensions are much happier in retirement than people who don't have pensions. Happiness in retirement is tied to almost 100% to guaranteed lifetime income. But now the research shows is not only you're going to be happier, you're going to live longer. Freakonomics did a study. It's actually a University of Chicago study that studied people who bought income annuities versus people who didn't. And you know what they found? The people that bought the income annuities lived longer than the people that didn't.
So you can see, we're talking about different strategies and different things. And Tom is a very, very, he has a PBS special. He does a lot of speaking. He educates financial advisors on different things. So he's very passionate about lifetime income annuities for a portion of people's portfolios. Let's talk about some things, and then I'm going to show you an example of a scenario where we ran a few different approaches to solving the problem. But first of all, what are some potential lifetime income strategies and some products that can be used for volatility buffer? Number one, lifetime income annuities that Tom just talked about. So let's talk about some pros. Everything out there, ladies and gentlemen, everything out there has positives and negatives, advantages and disadvantages. And as I mentioned to you, we're not about that. We don't care about, selling products and services, but we do care about providing you education so you can make informed decisions. So anyway, a lifetime income annuity, some of the great things about it is that it offers you guaranteed lifetime income. It's just like Social Security. It's just like those pension plans. You're privately creating your own pension. The other nice thing about these products is they protect your principal and they eliminate the risk that you live too long and run out of money. They have various payout options. Some of them could potentially keep pace with inflation as well. Now, you're going to hear certain people, and I'm not going to mention names, and they're going to bash annuities, and they're going to say they're terrible and blah, blah, blah. And they're not. But why do they say they are? Well, they try to emphasize certain things that you definitely need to know about, which is, they have restrictions on your liquidity. So if you put $1 million into a lifetime income annuity, and 7 weeks from now you want your $1 million back, there's going to be some restrictions to it, to getting all your money. There's also probably, you're not going to get the greatest growth. You're not going to get growth that's probably similar to, having a professionally managed portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. There's going to be some potential limitations. Some of them grow pretty nicely, but they don't all. And they may not maintain purchasing power. That is one of the things that you have to be careful of, but there's ways to arrange that. So you have to be careful of that. Now, reverse mortgages. This is another controversial product that a lot of people say, oh, you should never do that or so. And the reality is they have a purpose if the right situation arises. And some of the good things about them is they can give you additional capital. It doesn't increase your expenses. And what's even better is you can actually do a reverse mortgage where if you have a mortgage, you can get rid of the mortgage and even pull money out of your house, and that you won't have to pay back ever again until you pass away or sell the home. It can serve as an additional emergency reserve. You might do a reverse mortgage and just have an equity line of credit on your property. And the payback, this is the key, is deferred till death or the sale of your home. So ultimately, you can borrow money from your home and not pay it back until you pass away. So that's the great thing about it. And for a lot of people, this offers additional income in retirement that they otherwise wouldn't have. The negatives are that if you have a child that it's really important for you to leave as much money behind as possible, they're going to get less. That's the bottom line. You're going to have to, before they inherit the house, the loan's going to have to be paid back. And it does also reduce flexibility. So, let's say you're in a property and you want to move. You got to know that if you move, you got to pay back that loan. So and that might be okay, but you just have to be aware of that. Life settlements. This is one that a lot of people aren't familiar with. You may see some commercials from Coventry and places like that. But ultimately, there's a lot of you on this webinar that have life insurance that you've paid in. Could be permanent insurance like whole life or universal. It could be term insurance. You've been paying it for a while, and maybe at this point in your life, you don't need it anymore. There's a way to actually sell the rights to that policy and get capital. So I have a lot of scenarios that I've seen that people have benefited from it, and they were just going to let their policies lapse, and we taught them how to get money for it. The downside is if you get rid of your life insurance, that's not going to go to your beneficiaries. It's going to go to their beneficiaries. So you have to be aware of that. But that's really the only downside of a life settlement. And then there's cash value life insurance. This is a good way. I mentioned it before. This is a way that you might be able to escape provisional income, and you get tax-free income. A lot of people, as you all know, long-term care is one of the biggest challenges. It could wipe out your whole portfolio. It could wipe out your retirement all at once. But a lot of life insurance policies now have long-term care attached to them so that you can use the death benefit if you need long-term care. And it's a very efficient way to leave money, that cash value policy. On the negative side, you got to be concerned that there's somewhat limited growth potential. If you have $100,000 in life insurance, it's not probably going to grow as fast as it would in a professional managed account. And early on, you got to watch out, because if you pay for a permanent life insurance policy for a year or two and then you quit, you're going to be disappointed because you're going to lose that money that you spent. It's not the type of thing, most cases, where you can, it's more of a longer term kind of investment. But remember what I said before, and I want to say it again, that when it comes to financial decisions, never say never, never say always. It depends. Some of these products for never running out of money make sense, and some of them don't. And you have to understand all the moving parts, the pros and the cons of each of them to determine. But now watch this. This is fun, okay? This is actually a real life example of a friend of mine. She may be even on the webinar. We ran her scenario. Her husband is a physician, and we ran their scenario, and they had $400,000 of pre-tax assets, $1 million of post-tax assets, and they wanted about $150,000, $12,000 a month for their income goal. We apply the strategy of converting some of that $400,000 to a Roth IRA over 4 years. We took $500,000 of the assets and transferred them to a fixed index annuity volatility buffer, $100,000 of assets to a guaranteed income annuity. The results are phenomenal. Before, they had a 41% chance of success, living a successful retirement, which again, defined as, in this example, having $12,000 a month for the rest of their lives. When we made these little magic wand changes, now all of a sudden they have a 99% chance of success, $2.1 extra million, and they saved $222,000 in taxes. So a nice before and after story once again. And this one is very powerful because we incorporated more than just one idea like before. So now, what I'd like to invite each of you to do is to get your own IFW retirement roadmap. I think you can see very clearly how it can really be a benefit to you. Now, on the right-hand side, you'll see offers. And while that's up there, I just want you to see that red button that says sign up now. That'll take you to our calendar, and you can just simply schedule a meeting. It's very simple. You just walk through that. But let me tell you about what the experience looks like and what you can be prepared to expect. So first of all, use the link in the offer box. Number one, your experience will begin with a basic data gathering situation. And as I said before, no sensitive information, no account numbers, no social security numbers. We're going to gather how much you have in pre-tax money, after-tax money, tax-free buckets, how much you have in pension, social security, how much you have, how much you want in a retirement budget, how much do you need to live on every month. All right, we're going to gather that information. Then you will review your situation with an IFW certified financial professional that knows how to use the software, that has a lot of expertise on all the moving parts. I want to emphasize something about our financial professionals. They're vetted, they're qualified, they're amazing, they're independent, they're not beholden to any one financial institution. So they don't have something in mind that they're going to show you. They actually have, they show you things based on your needs and goals and wants. The third step is the IFW financial professional will present you potential strategies and solutions to improve your situation based on your roadmap review and your discussion together. Now, I want to tell you something. I've been doing this a long time, 27 years or so. And whether it was a roadmap or something, I've noticed that 80% of the time, we're able to help people. Okay. If people are open-minded, trust is a big thing. You know, if they don't, if there isn't an element of trust between the two parties, it never works. So if there's an element of trust, you're dealing with a competent professional that really knows what they're doing. 80% of the time, they're really able to help. And I will tell you that 20% of the time, people are in good shape. You know, there are people out there, unfortunately, it's not the majority, or maybe fortunately, depending on which way you look at it. But 20% of the time, people are in great shape. We send them and we say, look, you're in great shape. Maybe, you know, read our newsletter every week, stay in touch. But the reality is, based on the formula, you're in great shape and we can improve your situation. Okay. But 80% of the time we can improve people's situation. So my buzzer, I love it when my buzzer goes off because that means people are signing up for the roadmap. I just want to emphasize to you, if you click on the sign up now red button, you'll get to that calendar and you'll start your roadmap experience. Let's do this. Clicker's not clicking. Go to the next page. Okay. So now I'm going to invite my partner in crime, executive vice president in charge of advisor education and our research champion. So when we don't know something at the Institute of Financial Wellness, Scott finds the answer. And what I'd like to do is open it up to questions and answers. All you'll do is you can see there's two parts. There's the chat box and there's the offers box. So inside the chat box is where you're going to write down any questions that you have. So it usually takes a minute. So while people are finding their way, I'm going to ask Scott to give us a little update on what's going on in the world.
Indeed. Hey, Eric, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Great. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Lots going on. First of all, as so many people probably know by now today, the Federal Reserve increased the Fed funds rate by 0.75 of a point or 75 basis points. This was widely expected. They even hinted, Eric and everyone, that next month in July, for our July 4th, right after rather, that they may do it again, another 0.75 of a point.
Whoa.
And for that matter, we're talking about whether it's 0.75 of a point or not, at least 4 more times this year, at least, they will raise the rate, whatever that amount may be. But this month, 0.75 of a point, it seems they're prepping us for another 0.75 in July. So happy July 4th. They also reduced their expectation of GDP growth from 2.8% down to 1.7%. Now, 1.7 is not terrible, but to me, wrong direction. Inflation. I've just got nothing but great information, but hey, you got to tell things you don't like as well as things you do. Inflation rose 8.6% in May from a year ago. That is the highest rate since 1981. Fuel alone, because, we're all having a fun time filling the gas tank, is up over 106.7% last year. And the one thing that is down is mortgage demand. That fell to its lowest rate in 22 years, with demand less than half of what it was a year ago. And a 30-year fixed rate is now, as of yesterday, this is before the fee increase, 6.28. I guess we might be prepared for that to be up a little bit next week. And last but not least, but this is not necessarily bad news, the Social Security Trust Fund report came out, and I did read it cover to cover. It's a page turner. But the good news is, last year they said the trust fund would run out by 2033. Now they're saying 2034. You know what? I'll take that year. What's also good news is that if it does run out, if Congress doesn't act, last year they said we still have enough revenue coming in to give everybody 70% of what they would get. Now it's up to 77%. I hope it never goes to that. I hope it doesn't run out. Something is done, but that's at least, I'll say, a modicum of good news.
All right. Well, let's get into some questions and answers. I see one coming through. A lot of people ask questions. I want to emphasize, go into the chat box, write in your question. Those of you that want to sign up, you can go click on where it says offers or where it says sign up now, that red button that says sign up now, and it'll take you right to the calendar. So Marjorie says, I'm 65 and my husband is 63. Are we doomed? Well, it depends. It depends, Marjorie. I don't know the details of your situation. You might be in great shape and you might not be. And I will tell you from personal experience, going through our roadmap experience is really going to answer that question for you. So if you haven't signed up already, I can't see the sheet, but I would encourage you to sign up and review. There's as I mentioned before, we don't charge for the roadmap review, and we'd be happy to help. Edith says, I have an appointment Friday. That's great. Thank you for sharing that with us, Edith. We've got another person that says, my husband and I are both retired. Am I able to convert my IRA to a Roth still? I will only start my RMDs this year. Thanks. Scott, I know you're dying for that one. Go for it.
You are able to convert your IRA to a Roth. Absolutely. You can convert it at any time, and for that matter, any amount you want. Of course, remember, when you convert it does create a tax situation, so you want to perhaps ladder it, or rather take a little at a time, depending on what your comfort level is.
Excellent. Here's a great question from Dennis. Dennis says, my IRA, which is a rollover from a 457 plan, is declining fast. Unfortunately, join the club, right? Good news, and that is good news. He's got a pension, and he's getting over $12,000 a month before taxes. So that's great.
That's great.
You're not in a situation like my friend's parents were, where you're forced to take money from that IRA to live on right now. So that's a good thing, because cash flow is not a problem for him. But if he converts IRA money to a Roth each year, tax is based on ordinary income rate. Yes? Correct, it is. But Dennis, a couple of things that to bring to your attention is, because the account value is down, that might be a good reason to do the conversion, because you're going to pay tax on a lower amount. So, but yes, it would be ordinary income tax. We've got another question. What info do I need to have ready for my call? It's a great question, Anna. You're going to get a series of emails and communications that are going to tell you what you need. But so I don't avoid the question, you're going to need the values of your pre-tax assets, your after-tax assets, and your tax-free assets. So bottom line, you need the value of all of your assets, the value of all your liabilities or the debt that you owe. You're going to need to know how much your Social Security is going to be. You're going to need to know how much money you want in retirement. And ultimately, that's pretty much it. Any life insurance or annuity policies that you have, gather that information. And then have an idea of how much you have in stocks, bonds, and cash. In other words, if you have an IRA, how much of it is in stocks, how much of it is in bonds, and how much of it is in cash. So I hope that helps.
Excellent.
Scott, why don't we give you this one? Can I convert a whole life to a IUL?
Well, it's not the way you can convert an IRA to a Roth. There might be some specific situations and companies that might allow that to some extent. But basically, if you're going from one policy to a new policy, if it's with a different company, you're probably going to have some underwriting. If it's with the same company, perhaps you can do something called an internal exchange to get it done. That's one where it depends on the company and what their rules are, and of course, if they even have an IUL for you to convert to.
The answer is yes.
As usual.
So everything he said is correct, except he left out one thing. Yes, you can.
The answer is yes.
All right. Okay.
So Ed has
a question.
Go ahead.
Who gets the lost funds when you lose funds from stock? I guess there's more to that question. I'm not sure, Ed. Kind of keep going. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm seeing the sign up link here. I do. My phone's clicking, and I notice, and somebody private messaged me that they're having trouble finding the sign up now. So it's right there in red. You don't even have to press offers, I don't think, right, Reese? Because it's at the top. Yeah. You changed the order, Reese? Yeah. You changed the order a little bit. Good. All right, good. So Reese also put the link in the chat box. So for those of you that are, for whatever reason, I mean, I know that technology, especially on your phone, sometimes a little tricky. So in both the chat box, Reese put the sign up link. You just click on that. Very simple. And also, if you're in the offers box, which is on top, you can see the red box that says sign up now. But let's keep those questions coming. We've still got 8 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I think another one has just come in. All right, Hilda, can I have good benefits if I retired at 62 years old? It depends, Hilda. It's very possible that you can. I mean, you can't get Medicare yet until 65. So that's, definitely something that you have to be concerned about. There are some states, Florida is one of them, that based on your income, you can get subsidized health insurance benefits. And there's other states out there that I'm not an expert in health insurance, but I know that there's a lot of opportunities for some subsidized health insurance. But that is really the biggest challenge of retiring early, is finding proper health insurance. And then, of course, it's running the numbers on seeing if you have enough money in order to retire comfortably and not have to work anymore. And that's one of the things that the roadmap will help with. So Yvette says, Eric, can you please speak up? I can barely hear you on my laptop. I hope that's just your laptop, Yvette. I think everybody else, it might be a function of on your laptop, but I hope so. If anybody else is out there, let me know if you can hear me.
There is a question, Eric, from Tanya, if I may. Is there a way to figure out how much Social Security I will get from my ex-husband's Social Security, as his will be much more than my own, since I was a stay-at-home mom for many years? Well, if I may, I'm going to take a page out of Eric's book and go, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, there is. That's the bottom line. There is. There are some various questions or things that would have to apply, but the answer is yes.
So she'll get her husband's Social Security.
She would get a portion of it, not necessarily all of it. And if he is her ex-husband through divorce, I will say this: you have to have been married for 10 years at least and been divorced for at least 2 years, and you can't be remarried, just so you know. But the bottom line is, yes, you can. And the best way to do that is, quite frankly, call Social Security, and they'll figure it out for you.
Great. Thank you, Scott. All right. What other questions do we have? Keep these questions rolling. I do hear my clicker going off with roadmap sign up. So I do want to encourage everybody. We love doing these roadmaps. The experience will be fantastic. I urge you, take advantage of it. It'll really help you. So again, click on the sign up now link or the offers area. And then we'll have Reese put it in the chat box one more time as well. Okay. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Let's, while we're waiting for more questions, I'm going to, kind of give a little summary here. And there's really some key takeaways that I want to share with everybody from this. And I do see another question came in, or was that Reese? That was Reese. Okay. So the first thing that we talked about, those of you that came in and joined a little late, was the IFW promise. And, the big promise is that we're fiduciaries. We've got to do legally, ethically, by law, we've got to do what's in your best interest. So there's no, hocus pocus, and there's no messing around with dealing with the Institute of Financial Wellness. We are a registered SEC fiduciary, and we are obligated and required to do what's in your best interest. We have a philosophy at the IFW that when it comes to financial decisions, never say never, never say always, it depends. We really want to take into consideration each person's unique goals and circumstances and align them with the right products and services based on their needs. We represent, or I should say, the Institute of Financial Wellness financial professional that we introduce you to doesn't represent only one company. They're completely open architecture. They have different agreements with many financial institutions and can assist you anyway. So we talked then about lowering taxes. And the big takeaway there was a Roth IRA might make a lot of sense. But then we also, there are some things like Roth conversions, reverse mortgages, life insurance. There's some different things that have some very, very good tax incentives. And the whole idea there is you want products and services that you get income from in retirement. If you can avoid Social Security taxes or taxes on your Social Security, you're going to want to do that. And the way to do that is to have the lowest possible provisional income. And this Roth conversion is one great way to do that. Then we talked about mitigating market volatility, which is a big topic. And you've got to be concerned about the order of your returns. That is very, very important. When you're using your money and things are down, you have to be very careful that you don't liquidate. And you have to have a plan. We have a program called the volatility buffer that could really work very well for you. And then we talked about never running out of money. And Tom Hegner did a great job of talking about lifetime income annuities and how they're like pension plans, and guaranteed income makes you healthier physically, emotionally, financially. So real good stuff. When it comes to these financial decisions, never say never, never say always. Now, you can see here that these are the different tools. There's only so many tools that all financial professionals have in their toolbox. We have health savings accounts, annuities like a QLAC, a reverse mortgage, CDs, money markets, Roth conversions, money management, life settlements, all of this, and looking at this holistically with a guided tour of the retirement roadmap experience by one of our financial professionals really can make a huge difference and give you that peace of mind that you're really all craving. Should we take our money out of our 401k or keep it and let it regrow like it did in 2008? We lost $40,000 so far since. It's problematic. It's a hard question to answer. It depends, Marjorie. So everybody's situation is a little bit unique. There's one thing. I mean, the worst case scenario for anybody is that you had all your eggs in quote unquote one basket. The money you're living on is all down right now, and you need to take it out to live on. Well, if you're in that situation, that's a little bit of a problem. You need to try to find a way to not liquidate if you don't have to. One of our friends mentioned that he has a pension, so his money has time to recuperate. So you always want to give that money time to recuperate, okay? Dennis says, a volatility buffer annuity with cash payout to you periodically. Do you pay taxes on the annuity money you take out as income? Great question, Dennis. It really depends. Is the annuity an IRA? Is the annuity a Roth IRA? Is it a non-qualified annuity? So it's the way the annuity is set up. And that's how it is. So if you had money, for example, in a 401k that you move to an annuity, then it will be taxable. But if you had money in a Roth IRA and you buy an annuity with it, then it's not taxable. What can I put my Roth 29,000 to keep it safe and have some income from it? I don't need to use it now. Lynn, I don't want to answer that because I don't know your entire details. But the stuff on the screen here that says the roadmap experience, all these different things, one or two or three of those might make some sense for you. And it's really just a matter of looking at your goals, needs, and objectives. I think it's good that you don't need the income right now, so you have the ability to put it away for later.
Very true.
What age can you start withdrawing from an IUL if you just started investing in it less than 5 years ago? Why don't you answer that, Scott?
No problem. There's no age limit. Any cash value that's there, cash surrender value, is yours. What I would suggest is if you're going to take any money out, call the insurance company, tell them how much you want to take out, and get something called an in-force illustration to see if there will be any major impact to it.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Dennis, follow-up question about the annuity, and it's a great question. If you bought it with after-tax dollars, is it taxed when it's taken out? Great question. So I'll answer it very mathematically. You put in $100,000, it's now $150,000, okay? If you just withdraw some money, even if it's periodically, if you just withdraw money, the $50,000 or the interest comes out first and is taxable. Once you take out that $50,000, the rest of it would not be taxable. It would be a return of principal. However, and I'm not saying that you should do this, there's something called annuitizing your annuity, which means that you're going to take a part principal and part interest, and you're going to set up distributions from it. And then some of that will be considered a return of principal, and that's called a taxable exclusion ratio. That wouldn't be taxable, be considered a return of principal. Good question, Dennis. Any other questions? I do see a lot of people are signing up for the roadmap. We love that. Keep it going. I really encourage you to do that. It really help you. I mean, it really clarifies and gives you confidence and a lot of clarity on where you're at, where you're going, and how to get there. Reese, can you go to the next slide? I don't know why the clicker's not working. All right. So in closing, if I could ask you all, Reese is going to put a link in the chat box to Trustpilot. And I ask for your help. Help us fulfill our mission. You know, to me, people that trust us are going to get great value. But if you don't trust us and you're skeptical about it, it's hard. You know, it's hard to do work with an institution that introduces you to other people. Trust is a critical component. And if you look at our Trustpilot links, you know, there's a lot of people that have gone through the retirement roadmap experience that say great things about it. We still have 65 people in attendance on the webinar. I would ask that when Reese puts that link in the chat box, if you clicked on it and you had a good experience with us, just let us know. Let the community know so that they have confidence in the Institute of Financial Wellness. It's really simple. You just click on the link. It'll take you to the thing. Hopefully you'll love us. You'll give us 5 stars, write something nice about your experience. I hope you got value. If over an hour has gone by and you're still on with us, I like to think that you've gotten some good, valuable information. So we really appreciate that. Anna has one question. I'll end on this question. If you're paying tax on the $50K, didn't you already pay tax on the interest you earned? No, Anna. I'll say it one more time. You have $100,000 that you put in. That money's been taxed. That $100,000 has been taxed already. Then an annuity is tax deferred. So that $50,000 that it grew is now never been taxed. So you have 100 that you've been taxed on and 50 that you haven't. If you pull money out, they ask you to take the interest. You have to take the interest first, which is that $50,000. So you didn't pay taxes on that already. Hope that helps, Anna. All right, with that, I hope you can fill out that Trustpilot. I want to thank everyone for participating. That link is still up. We're going to keep it up for the remainder. But remember, our mission is to provide financial education resources and services to help you live your best life. Our philosophy, I'll say it again, never say never, never say always, it depends. Go ahead, schedule that retirement roadmap experience. It'll be fantastic.